You know who else is getting off to a rocky start this year? Joss Whedon. Let's take a look at a couple of articles here. From IndieWire, we got Jeremy Irons says Snyder Cut couldn't have been worse than dreadful Justice League. So I know this isn't necessarily the drama of Joss Whedon quite yet, but this is kind of painting a picture of, just an incredible actor, Jeremy Irons. From my childhood, we're talking Scar from The Lion King, right? Let alone just so many great films that he's been in. Says the Oscar winner is in no rush to revisit the troubled DC film. 4 years have passed since the critically maligned Justice League hit theaters, but the film stars still have a lot to say about it. Last week, Ben Affleck described the Justice League reshoots as a low point in his career. It just was the worst experience. It was awful. It was everything that I didn't like about this, Affleck said, adding that the film was a catalyst in his decision to permanently abandon the role of Batman and pursue more serious films. Now fans can add Jeremy Irons to the list of Justice League stars with harsh words for the film. In an interview with Variety promoting his role as Neville Chamberlain in Netflix's Munich: The Edge of War, Irons was asked if he had watched original director Zack Snyder's revised cut of the film. Irons, who played Batman's butler Alfred Pennyworth in Justice League, revealed that he has not seen the Snyder cut, but thinks the original film has plenty of room for improvement. Strangely, I think I have it and I haven't seen it. I shall have to hunt it out. I want to do Jeremy Irons accent, but I just can't. Strangely, I think I have it and haven't seen it. I shall have to hunt it out and see if I have it somewhere online or on a DVD. I remember talking to Zach before he did it and being very interested to see what he came up with, Irons said, before adding it couldn't have been worse than the theatrical version. When reminded that some viewers found the film dreadful, he replied, "Well, so did I." Justice League was plagued with problems from the start, culminating in Snyder having to step down as director in the midst of personal tragedy and being replaced with Joss Whedon at the end of the shoot. Much of the cast and crew have disavowed the movie, and many fans hope that the decision to release Snyder's extended cut would redeem Justice League by showcasing his original vision. The actual release of Snyder Cut was polarizing, with some calling it brilliant and others saying it as much ado about nothing. One person who will not be weighing in on the debate anytime soon, Jeremy Irons. Now, I saw Justice League, the Joss Whedon cut, and did not care for it at all. Not at all. Then I watched the Snyder cut, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Was it perfect? No. Is there any film out there that's really perfect? No. But you know what? I really, really enjoyed the Snyder cut. I don't know if I just enjoyed it because it was great, or I enjoyed it because of, in comparison to the Whedon cut, it was so much better, so significantly better, that in contrast, it just, ranked so much higher in my head, I guess. But Snyder cut, I thought it was great. And we'll talk about some of what Whedon did when he took over for Snyder on that cut. But yeah, I personally enjoyed the Snyder cut very, very much. Did not care for the Whedon cut. And I know Whedon came over from Marvel. Probably most recently was what he was working on. And I get what he was trying to do and what he was trying to bring to the table. But that didn't fit right in that DC universe, I don't think. So yeah, really, really enjoyed Snyder's cut. What did you think about the Snyder cut versus the Whedon cut, or the studio cut, maybe we can call it? If you will, leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know. Were you a WB Whedon fan, or were you a Snyder fan, or neither? Would love to hear what you have to say. All right, moving on. And Gavin Geek, Joss Whedon blames stupid people for genuine recalcitrant, intractable sexism in comic movies. See, I'm a filmmaker, and I don't know a lot of these big words, so I don't know if I'll ever be given any kind of interviews or articles at any point in time. I'll just probably be quiet if I'm able to do that. Now this is an older article from 2015, and I did pull this out on purpose as an older article to kind of paint a picture of where Joss Whedon was, or where he presented himself to be several years ago, before now things getting stirred up. We like Joss Whedon over here at Gavin Geek. We like him because he's given us some great movies and TV, and while we don't expect him to slow down on that front, we especially like him since he spoke out about the lack of female-led superhero films. In a recent interview with Digital Spy, Whedon commented on why he thinks there haven't been a real film-led comic book or any real female-led comic book movies. Looks like a typo on their end. It's a phenomenon in the industry that we call stupid people. Man, those words may come back to get you, buddy. There is a genuine you heard me earlier, and old-fashioned quiet misogyny that goes on. You hear, oh, female superheroes don't work because of these two bad ones that were made 8 years ago. There's always an excuse. Whedon went on to praise the efforts around the Hunger Games and used as an example to show that female-led blockbusters can be a bankable project. And of course, Hunger Games did great, and that was fairly recent. And then you got older ones like the Terminator movies. As much as, everyone loves Arnold, I mean, Linda Hamilton and her role as Sarah Connor, female-led and entire, I would say definitely a female-led movie there. Killer, right? Aliens, all those franchises, awesome. Sigourney Weaver is amazing. So yeah, we've never really had a lack of awesome. Well, I say that it's never been that strong female leads didn't exist. It's that we had to make them strong female leads that made sense. He talks about it right here, actually, and it's an excellent point. Is and getting off of this for just a second, that right now we're doing a lot of strong female leads that don't necessarily make sense, and it's forced. It's forced for you to believe that this woman can beat up those 8 guys, or that this woman has all these superpowers, or knows how to use the Force, never had a day of training in her life, never been told about her powers, just all of a sudden is amazing. There's no arc, there's no story, there's no struggle. It's just wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. And although that is true for male characters as well, now in modern day writing, is more and more prevalent, I think, in female-led films when we're trying to create a strong female character. And I feel bad that that's the case, because I really do believe that some of these female characters that are out there are awesome, and they could be really, really awesome, but they're not written right. There's no character development. What he says right here in talking about Hunger Games, and then he jumps down saying Marvel is in a position of making a statement simply by making a female-led movie, which I think would be a good thing to do. But it has to be a good movie. I'm going to underline that again. It has to be a good movie. It has to be a good character, and most of the best characters in Marvel are owned by Fox. Let's face it. Again, this was written in 2015. But his point here is spot on. It has to be a good movie. It has to be a good character. One of the things we're seeing in Marvel right now with the latest phase in their cinematic universe, you got She-Hulk, you got female Thor, you got Captain Marvel. I forget what else it is. I did not see Hawkeye, but my understanding is the female lead in that seems to be the primary character, and taking it away from the Hawkeye character. So a lot of that is happening now, and it's almost like they're just replacing male characters with female characters, and it's sad. They've done the same thing with black characters, replacing white characters with black characters. And what's sad about all that is there are already good female characters in existence, great black characters in existence, that if developed properly and put into the cinematic universe correctly, would be awesome. But who's it? Young Ripa is always very big about talking about that, and it's always tokenizing characters, and I see that, and I understand that wholeheartedly. It has to be a good movie. It has to be a good character for it to work. Moving on. Here we start getting into Joss Whedon and Gal Gadot's drama. Joss Whedon denies that he threatened Gal Gadot's career. English is not her first language, where she said, I understand perfectly. We're going to look at this a little bit. Joss Whedon denies that he threatened Gal Gadot's career in an interview with New York Magazine. Whedon, who directed Gadot in Gadot in 2017's Justice League, addressed her 2021 claims that he threatened my career and said that if I do something, he will make sure my career is miserable. I don't threaten people. Who does that? Said Whedon, 57, adding, and again, why do they always throw in ages and colors of skin and stuff? Some of these things are completely irrelevant to the story. Said Whedon, 57, adding of the alleged incident. English is not her first language, and I tend to be annoyingly flowery in my speech. Whedon told the magazine that he had joked that Gadot, 36, see, there you go, that to fulfill her wishes and cut a specific scene of hers from the film, she would have to tie him to a railroad track and do it over his dead body. According to Whedon, she mistakenly thought he said over her dead body. In an email to the magazine, Gadot remembered the exchange differently, saying, I understood perfectly. Gadot's initial comments about Whedon's alleged threat came in a May interview with Israeli news outlet N12, in which the Wonder Woman actress said, I had my issues with Joss and I handled it. Good for her. That's what Wonder Woman should be doing, right? Anything else in here that's good? In his interview with New York Magazine, Whedon also addressed claims from Ray Fisher, who played Cyborg in Justice League, after Fisher, 34, said on Twitter in July 2020 that Whedon was gross, abusive, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable during reshoots on the film. Not a whole lot of people are digging what he did. We're going to dive into to Ray Fisher's feedback a little bit more on this one. This from the LA Times. Joss Whedon speaks out against Gal Gadot, Ray Fisher, and says he had to have affairs. Whoa! So we just keep piling on this sandwich, right? This is a turd sandwich we're building here. Given the opportunity to answer allegations of grievous misbehavior, including claims of sexist remarks and racist actions on his set, Joss Whedon copped to affairs, saying he had to have them, and situations he should have handled better in his personal life, but disputed claims from the likes of actors Gal Gadot, Ray Fisher, and others. He dismissed Fisher's complaints as those of a bad actor. In Gadot's case, he suggested the Israeli actor had misunderstood him because English is not her first language. We already talked about that. An extensive New York Magazine profile by Lily Shapiro. Whedon offered his first detailed public responses to the negative reports, which began arising in the summer of 2020 and have encompassed not just his actress Justice League film, but also Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the television show that made his fame. Ray Fisher, whose Justice League role as a superhero cyborg was drastically reduced when the film's director reigns went from Zack Snyder to Whedon, has made multiple public statements accusing the writer-director of abusive and unprofessional actions on set. In one tweet, he wrote the director's on-set treatment of the cast and crew of Justice League was gross, abusive, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable. In the New York profile that published on Vulture.com on Monday, Whedon dismissed Fisher's claims, saying he made the changes because the storyline featuring Cyborg, who was perhaps the central character in the Snyder Cut, didn't work, and that he did not think Fisher had delivered a good performance. We're talking about a malevolent force, Whedon is quoted as saying in the New York article. We're talking about a bad actor in both senses. Now look, my own 2 cents. I wasn't the absolute most blown away by Ray Fisher's performance as Cyborg either. I think the character was completely underdeveloped, especially in Whedon's version specifically. In Snyder's cut, we did see more of Cyborg. We got to know him a little better, and I was happy about that because I think Cyborg is a really cool character, and if developed correctly, it could be like amazingly cool story, film franchises, whatever. Wasn't absolutely blown away by Ray Fisher's acting myself, and do think that Justice League as a whole, just forcing a bunch of characters at one time that we haven't really been introduced to, it translated to some, misunderstandings or confusion or, just not the best of storytelling, I would say there. While Whedon denied the rolling on the floor incident, I skipped over that. You can read that again. Any articles that I'm reading, the links will always be in the description. So you can go back and you can read this entire thing. But this is one I wanted to get to. While Whedon denied the rolling on the floor incident, he said of his now documented affairs on the set of Buffy while he was married. What an ass. That doesn't say that. I just added that in. I feel effing terrible about them. It messes up the power dynamic. The New York piece continues. He quickly added that he had felt he had to sleep with them, that he was powerless to resist. He had been surrounded by beautiful young women, the sort of women who had ignored him when he was younger, and he feared if he didn't have sex with them, he would always regret it. So, first of all, again, what an ass. Cheating on his wife. It's Hollywood. I understand it happens all the time. Doesn't make it right. It's a dick move. 100% dick move, no doubt. But what makes this even more of a dick move, in my opinion, is when you read this, he feels terrible about it, but he doesn't ever say that he feels terrible about it because of what it did to his marriage, or he feels bad for his wife. It's always, I feel terrible about it, but I kind of felt like I had to, because if I didn't get it then, I wasn't going to get it, and I was always going to regret it. Look, I get it. If Salma Hayek came up to me and wanted to holler, I'd have a hard time too. Granted, but I am married. I am married, and that means more to me than anything. So, love you, Salma, but it ain't going to happen. Okay. Not that Salma Hayek would ever see this, but I understand it. In Hollywood, you're surrounded by beautiful people all the time, men, women, everything, right? So for men, for women, this is a struggle. I get it, but you got to be stronger. You got to be stronger than that. And the whole bit about, what was it? He was surrounded by beautiful young women, the sort of women who had ignored him when he was younger. Well, you know, women are attracted to power. Women are attracted to money. Men are attracted to some of the same things as well. So now that you're somebody famous and rich and wealthy and well known, yeah, that's an attractive thing for them. So it's not that they were necessarily turned on by you. They were turned on by your possessions or your status or whatever. So, you know, whatever, dude. It's just kind of pisses me off a little bit hearing stuff like this. Joss Whedon, say what you will. Incredible writer, director, contributor to, I mean, Buffy the Vampire Slayer was a hit show. I didn't watch it. I watched the movie. I didn't watch the show. But I mean, you got to acknowledge his contribution to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, what an amazing director to work with all those talent and to bring those stories together so well. You know, incredible guy. Kevin Spacey is another creep in Hollywood, right? Probably one of my all-time favorite actors. He's up there for sure. Love Kevin Spacey as an actor. But man, it's just so hard to watch something he's been in and enjoy it, knowing kind of the person he is. And then you got Harvey Weinstein, and there's others. You know, the scandals don't make them any less talented, right? But it does tarnish their legacy and their future in Hollywood. And it really does make it difficult to enjoy their work when you know they're the scumbags that they are. And I do say that from the bottom of my heart. What was his name? Jack, whatever, Murphy or whatever. Heartfelt. Jackasses, scumbags. Yeah. Heartfelt. So yeah, I guess there's just some things you can't blame on COVID, guys. Being scum of the earth is definitely one of them. Hey guys, thanks for checking out this clip from the Morning Mayhem. Remember, this is just a portion of the full show that comes out every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you hadn't already, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the full shows or these tasty little nuggets.